I don't know about you guys, but there is nothing more rewarding than getting an early start on the day. Back when I was working at a job that I hated ever so much, I was up very, very early because I like to get my exercise in first thing in the morning. And it's just the best way to wake myself up even further. And I was up at 3:45, 3:30 sometimes, just because, hey, first thing you do in the morning normally sets the tone for the day. And it always just seemed to bear out whenever I would take that effort, carry it through to the rest of my life. I would just find myself in a better headspace. And it seems, according to the Harvard Gazette, there is reason to believe that there is scientific backing to that theory. Early birds may be happier than night owls. Research sheds light on body clock and links to mental health and disease, a common topic lately. Not by choice, more or less by accident, whenever I come across something fun, and I like to share it with you guys out there. A large-scale genomic analysis has revealed some of the inner workings of the body clock, shedding new light on how it links to mental health and disease. The study, published in Nature Communications, suggests that being genetically programmed to rise early may lead to greater well-being and a lower risk of schizophrenia and depression. Now, genetically programmed to rise early. There are ways that you can change that, where you can just train your body to wake up earlier in the morning, okay? So don't think that just because you don't like waking up in the morning, or you might have a slow time getting out of bed in the morning, that's something you can work on. There are different ways that you can approach that, and there are different things you can do in order to achieve your desired outcomes. We'll discuss that later. We're just talking about this specific study right now. However, despite much previous speculation, the result did not reveal any strong links to disease such as diabetes or obesity. Okay, we're not discussing diet here, so why do you think that sleeping would affect your caloric intake? That's a weird leap to make. The study was conducted by an internal collaboration led by the University of Exeter at Harvard-affiliated Massachusetts General Hospital and funded primarily by the Research Council of the United Kingdom. It highlighted the key role of the retina in helping the body keep time. It also increased the number of areas of the genome known to influence whether someone is an early riser from 24 to 351. Michael Whedon of the University of Exeter Medical School, who led the research, said the study highlights a large number of genes which can be studied in more detail to work out how different people can have different body clocks. A large number of people in our study means we have provided the strongest evidence to date that night owls are at a higher risk of mental health problems such as schizophrenia and lower mental well-being, although further studies are needed to fully understand this link. Cool, so they got something to work on. Nice. The work was conducted with in 250,000 US-based research participants in 23andMe, a company that provides private genomic analysis. Yeah, the find out what your background is and a whole bunch of other fun things. It's, I don't know, something people like to look up. Couldn't care less. I am who I am, but to each his own. And 450,000 people in the UK Biobank study. All participants were asked if they were morning people or evening people, and their genomes were analyzed to look at genes they had in common that may influence their sleep patterns. The researchers confirmed that results using information from wrist-worn activity trackers used by more than 85,000 individuals in the UK Biobank. This information showed that the genetic variant their research identified could shift a person's natural waking time by up to 25 minutes, changing some people's waking time from 8 a.m. to 8:25 a.m., for example. The researchers found that genetic areas influence sleep timing, but not the quality or duration of sleep. That's where you'd have to think diet, activity levels, and other areas you can manage that would have some sort of a play there. The genomic regions identified include those central to our body clocks, also referred to as circadian rhythms, as well as genes expressed in the brain and in retinal tissues. The body clock cycle is slightly longer than the 24-hour daily cycle. The retinal connection may help explain how our body detects light to reset the body clock each day and align with the 24-hour cycle. Our body clocks are influenced by genes and lifestyle factors, including diet, exposure to artificial light. You've heard about those studies and the effect of, say, blue light, the incandescent light bulbs, the old CFC tubes in offices, the bright light that mess with sleep patterns and our job and activities. Obviously, yes, being more active is normally linked with better sleeping patterns, but of course that's always within moderation. Too much, too little, all that other fun stuff. Our body clock affects a wide range of molecular processes, including hormone levels and core body temperature, as well as our waking and sleeping patterns. Lead author Samuel E. Jones of the University of Exeter Medical School said the discovery of this fundamental body clock mechanism in the brain recently won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2017. However, we still know very little about whether or not your body clock influences your risk of disease. That's not what they're looking at, but okay. Our work indicates that part of the reason why some people are up with a little lark while others are night owls is because of the difference in both the way the brain reacts to external light signals and the normal functioning of our internal clocks. These small differences may have potentially significant effects on the ability of our body clocks to keep time effectively, potentially altering risk of both disease and mental health disorders. So far, it looks like there's a causal link between mental health disorders and sleep. But yeah, imagine that when you factor out other variables such as the food and exercise, you're not going to find a whole lot of information in the realm of sleep. Co-lead author Jacqueline Lane of the MGH Department of Anesthesia added, by understanding the genetics of sleep and activity timing in the general population, we also gain insight into potential avenues of therapy for individuals with more extreme conditions, such as those with advanced or delayed circadian rhythm disorders. And yes, previous sleep studies, we also talked about circadian rhythms, their importance. It's about a 90-minute pattern of sleep your body goes through. So if you find yourself groggy at that 8-hour mark, well, your circadian rhythms, you're not quite going through a complete cycle. So perhaps take a look at a 7.5-hour window or a 9-hour window. Unless, of course, you have that kind of brain fog in the morning, because we also took a look at some of the amyloid plaque data studies that show that, yeah, mental cognition is affected by having too much sleep as well as having too little sleep. And sleep is a very powerful thing. It's very misunderstood. It's very understood. Is that the correct terminology? Don't know. But there's a whole lot that is unknown about sleep, but its properties are indisputable. It is one of the best ways, and quite possibly the cheapest way, to positively influence your recovery cycle in your body to make yourself a much more complete and much more powerful human being. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.